and also an experienced reviewer at Pure Storage. And she's a really good interviewer. I know she interviewed me. It went great, so I can recommend her. So with her expertise and my fresh experience as a person who's been in the interviews, we want to share with you as much as we can. The call will be recorded, and the recording will be sent afterwards to you and posted in our YouTube channel. So don't worry if you know anyone who could not attend, or you will like to get back to anything that was shared, there will be a chance for that later. So that being said, I'm handing out to Sonia, and please shower us with your knowledge.
Sure. Thank you, Monica. Just to make sure if the chat is working now. I guess so. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's get started, I guess. So today I will try to tell you some valuable tips about how to shine in your next technical interview. So let me start with the introduction. As we are diving into the world of technical interviews, so for those of you who might have not been experienced many interviews yet, let's start by understanding what the process generally looks like. So it usually begins with a chat with HR or a talent acquisition specialist, followed by a technical interview or interviews, and a meeting with a manager. So, of course, different companies may choose different approaches. Some may give you a task to complete at home within a certain time frame, while others may be just happy with a conversation with you. However, the process I'm going to describe today is the one most commonly followed, and including Pure Storage. So the process is, first you'll begin with a conversation with our TA. The focus here is on getting to know you better. Basically, they just want to understand your background, your experiences, your salary expectations, and so on. This is also an opportunity for you to learn more about the company in general and the different roles available. Next up is the HackerRank quiz. So this basically acts as the first step before the main technical interview with our developers. It ensures that you have the fundamental computer science skills needed for any role in our company. Then comes the main part, 4 technical interviews with our developers that cover the following areas: algorithms, concurrency, system design, and data structures. So these interviews allow us to assess your abilities in depth, and each of these interviews is 1 hour long and involves different interviewers. So as Monica said, myself included. So today you can be confident that I have all the relevant information to guide you effectively. So during these interviews, you can expect live coding and discussions about specific topics I've just mentioned. And finally, you'll have a chat with your potential manager or managers. We'll talk about this later. So throughout today's Tech Talk, we will explore how you can shine at each step of this journey. So let's get started. General tips. So let's start with some general tips about how to act during interviews. So our first tip is incredibly simple, but incredibly crucial: talk. During your technical interviews, it's important to vocalize your thoughts and problem-solving process. Why? Because no matter how brilliant your ideas are, the interviewer can't read your mind. So being comfortable with thinking out loud is your secret weapon. Imagine you're trying to solve a complex problem, which you usually are during the interview. So by expressing your thoughts, you basically allow the interviewer to peek into your problem-solving process, understand your approach, and offer guidance if needed. So instead of just silently contemplating a solution, consider saying something like, I'm wondering if I can solve this by using this and that. So I don't know, by using this data structure or by using this algorithm. So this opens the door for the interviewer to provide valuable insights. Another useful phrase would be, I know how to solve part A, but I'm not sure how to solve part B. Like that, by voicing your uncertainty, you initiate collaboration, which is extremely important during the interview.
And I would say like being able to talk with your thought process is kind of a skill of its own. So if you're not experienced with that, practice with your friends, try to do some HackerRank tasks and explain them to your friends, because this may be not natural to many of us, but it's something you can work on.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. So our second tip is all about ensuring clarity. Repeat and clarify the question. So it might sound basic, but it's a powerful strategy in any technical interview. Before you jump into the problem-solving mode, please take a moment to make sure that you fully understand the question, because it's essential to uncover any ambiguity early on, especially when some questions are intentionally vague, to test your ability to seek clarification. So don't consider ambiguity as a stumbling block. View it as an opportunity to demonstrate your analytical skills. And here is a technique to master. Repeat the question or rephrase it in your own words. This not only ensures your understanding, but also showcases your active listening skills. So, for example, you can say something like, hey, if I understand properly, I'm supposed to do blah, blah, blah. Remember, when the interviewer opens the floor for questions, like by saying something like, let me know if you have any questions, take this opportunity. Do not hesitate to ask for clarification, because it's not a sign of your weakness or something like that. It demonstrates your attention to detail and your commitment to solving the problem accurately. So by repeating and clarifying the question, you lay the groundwork for a clear, focused solution. It ensures that you're on the right track from the very beginning of the technical interview, setting the stage for a successful one. The next tip, write an optimized solution first. So it is kind of a strategic approach, run an optimized solution first, because writing something is always better than writing nothing. When faced with a challenging problem, you don't have to find the most optimized solution right away. I mean, it's great if you can, but it may happen that you cannot, and it's completely fine. Start by creating a basic and optimized solution. This initial step serves as your foundation and provides a good starting point. And also, it's easier for the interviewer to help you when you have a basic solution on the table, because it gives them a clear understanding of your thought process. It allows them to offer also valuable guidance. Moreover, once you have a solution implemented, it's, even an unoptimized one, it's much easier for you to identify areas for improvement. So by having a functional solution, you can analyze its performance. You can spot bottlenecks. You can explore ways to optimize it effectively. So here's an example of how this might work in practice. If you find yourself thinking something like, well, I'm not seeing how to optimize this, but maybe I could at least use a brute force algorithm first. Go ahead, implement it. It's a valid starting point. In fact, all our technical questions follow this principle. So we begin with a simple solution, serving as a foundation upon which we can add complexity and optimizations. By adopting this approach, you not only demonstrate your problem-solving skills, but also you show your adaptability and willingness to iterate, refine, and improve. Remember, the key is to start somewhere, even if it's not the most optimized solution. It's the journey from the basic solution to the optimized one, which truly showcases your abilities.
And you can even use like pseudocode for this first step to basically just demonstrate what you think in code. It doesn't have to be like all correct compiling and ready to deploy. It's just a draft of where you are going.
Yeah, literally start with something. It's not even only about like technical stuff like that you will optimize solution. It's also about your mental state. Like if you're nervous, It will help you to, get used to the interviewer, get used to the interview, just get into the process. And while you're working on something, like as Monica said, like pseudocode or something like that, you'll get used to it and you will start to optimize it and to improve it. So yeah, next, our first tip is like a reminder that can significantly impact your interview experience. Do not get defensive. So during technical interviews, it's absolutely natural to feel nervous, but embracing a constructive mindset can make all the difference. So when the interviewer offers feedback, view it as a valuable insights that can help you improve. Remember, every piece of advice is a stepping stone toward your growth and success. Additionally, it's crucial to not get stressed if the interviewer interrupts you, especially to remind you of the deadline, because interviewers are the ones who are fully aware of the time constraints. So their goal is to ensure progress within the allocated time. It helps, like, we want to help you manage your time effectively. And also keep in mind that you might have another interview right after. So staying on track is essential. We also want to make sure to save a few minutes at the end of the interview for your questions, because it's not just a formality, it's your chance to gain valuable insights about the company and the role. And also, interviewers actually appreciate candidates who show genuine interest in the company and the position they're applying for. So we'll talk about the questions for the interviewer a bit more later in the presentation. Yeah, the next tip is my favorite. Pick up hints. So it unveils a powerful strategy that can greatly enhance your performance during technical interviews, because here is the inside scoop. We interviewers, we are trained to help you throughout the interview process and to guide you toward the right solution. And our hints can vary from subtle cues to direct suggestions, but of course, in most cases, they are not explicit, but rather embedded in probing questions. So what does it mean? It means that you need to be an active listener. Pay close attention to the interviewer's words and the question that they ask, because every question serves a purpose. Like, they're not asked because, we're bored or because we don't know the solution. We know the solution and we want you to get through the question to this solution. And we ask questions to encourage you to delve deeper into your decisions. So I don't know, for example, imagine that interviewer is asking you, is that data structure the most suitable for this task? Or could there be a more optimized way to retrieve data from the database? So these are not just questions. We are not just curious. Embrace this question as opportunities to refine your approach. And of course, keep in mind that it's absolutely acceptable to ask for further explanation, because, as I already said, interviewers appreciate your engagement and your commitment to understanding their guidance. So it shows that you are not only receptive, but also proactive in the problem-solving approach. The next tip is also my favorite. It's a friendly reminder. Do not be afraid of an interviewer. So interviews can be stressful, and they usually are stressful, and that's totally fine, but it's crucial to approach them with confidence and the right mindset. So to help you to do so, let me assure you that we are your allies in this process. We are not here to stress you out, to trap you, to pass judgment. Instead, we are on your side. We are seeking the right fit for both you and the company. So it's a mutual collaboration, it's mutual exploration of fit and potential collaboration. And also keep in mind that this process it's not just about finding a candidate who can give the right answers. We're not looking for robots. We're not looking for ChatGPT or something like that. We are looking for great people, and we are evaluating your ability to collaborate, your problem-solving approach, your way of thinking, and your communication skills. So it's not just a test. It's a conversation aimed at understanding your potential to contribute positively to the team.
And I would also say this is kind of two-side process, because we are looking for the great colleagues for ourselves, but you are also looking for the great colleague for yourselves. And like, I was taking a lot of interviews, and I feel that how I feel about interviewers that will be potentially my colleagues was super important for me. So also look, is the people you meet during this process are the people you want to work with. You have the same power to evaluate them as they have to evaluate you.
Yeah, that's important to keep in mind. It's always mutual. It's not only about us testing you or judging you. No, it's always about just two sides who are exploring if they want to work together. That's it. So the next slide, I think it's our final general tip, and it's a practical one. Prepare for the interview. And I'm not going to talk now about, studying computer science, or, I'm not talking here about technical skills, because we are going to talk about them later, but it's more about literally practically prepare for the interview. So as simple as it sounds, the right preparation can significantly impact your performance and overall experience during interviews. So firstly, let's start with your appearance. So it's important to look presentable, but remember, there is no need to overdo it. So dress in a manner that reflects the company's culture and your professionalism. That's it. Comfort is a key, as it allows you to focus on the conversation rather than your attire.
I would also say that, like, choose something you feel comfortable and confident in, because if you are a person that do not feel great in like a very official wear, as I am, I will not wear them to interview, because you don't need additional stressor. And if you are taking this like beautiful clothing that you will not be comfortable, they will be scratchy, you will have like another like sensory issue or another like basically point of distraction, this is not worth it.
Yeah, just try to feel comfortable, but also be presentable. Just find a balance. It's not so hard. Just yeah. So beyond your appearance, consider your surroundings. So find a comfortable, quiet place where you won't be interrupted. Check out that the internet connection is stable and it silence your any potential distractions. And also, it might seem obvious, but ensuring that your child isn't vying for your attention, or that you are not expecting, I don't know, a delivery guy, can make a significant difference in your ability to concentrate. So preparing your environment, of course, also extends to your technology as well. So test your camera, test your microphone beforehand to avoid any technical hiccups during the interview, because being technologically ready ensures a smooth and uninterrupted conversation. So by taking these steps to prepare, you set the stage for a successful and focused interview, which allows you to bring your best self to this conversation, facilitating a more, genuine and insightful interaction. So now that we have explored essential tips to excel in your technical interviews, let's dive into the heart of the matter: types of technical questions. Technical interviews often encompass a variety of question types, each designed to assess different aspects of your problem-solving abilities and technical expertise. So in the next segment, we will explore the different categories of technical questions included specifically in the Pure Storage interview process. So our first step here in understanding technical question types is algorithms. This fundamental area forms the backbone of many technical interviews. And first thing to mention, we have a dedicated presentation that delves deeper into the technical details of this question. So you can find the link right here in the presentation on the slide. And also, Monica, I guess you can send it into the Zoom chat.
Sure.
But yeah, so this presentation that we already have dives into like technical details. I will talk more As you see, I'm talking more about like soft skills and general stuff. But let's go through technical questions just briefly. So algorithms question tests your ability to implement efficient algorithms to solve complex problems. You should be also able to optimize your solution considering factors like time and space complexity and of course overall efficiency. And common examples might involve sorting, surging, graph algorithms, dynamic programming, recursion, stuff like that. So if you come with a technical background, either from technical university or from IT in general, you are for sure familiar with this algorithms. If not, again, check out our presentation and you will learn more about technical details of this question. The next one is data structures. The same applies here. We already have a presentation about this part, the same as for algorithms before, so feel free to check it out. But again, briefly, this question tests your ability to organize and manipulate data efficiently. So of course, you can expect concepts like arrays and linked lists and trees and graphs and hash tables and whatever data structures exist. You're expected to either select or implement suitable data structure, analyze time and space complexity, and implement algorithms for efficient operations on the selected or implemented data structure. The next one is system design. So very briefly, this task tests your ability to design scalable and efficient systems to address real-world challenges. And you can expect problems related to designing large-scale architectures, databases, APIs, and data storage solutions. So you should focus on understanding requirements and breaking down components and explaining your design choices clearly. So the very simple example would be design a simple eShop application with effective database access. I believe Monica has something to say about this question.
Yes, so I was interviewing to a lot of big tech, so I was familiar with how system design in my head supposed to look like, or to my experience looked like. And I was working with our talent acquisition person, and he was like, "Oh, let me tell you how our system design works." And I was like, "I know how it works." And it did not work how I thought it works. So I learned a very important lesson here. Listen to your talent acquisition people, because they are, like, really want to help you. And if they have any info for you, listen.
Nothing to add here, just agree. Okay, so the last technical topic is, of course, as you can expect, concurrency. So this one tests your ability to handle multiple tasks or processes simultaneously. Of course, it focuses on thread management, synchronization, and avoiding race conditions, stuff like that. And challenges that you might face may involve multi-threading, parallel processing, concurrent access to shared resources in a program. And what we expect you to do is to demonstrate an understanding of race conditions, deadlocks, and solution-like logs and atomic operations. The simplest example ever would be implement a log which lets multiple readers read at the same time, but only one writer write at a time. That's
it's
it.
always also good to go through this like classic concurrency problem of like philosopher dining or like Uber ordering. Basically, that's what you get when you Google concurrency interview. And even that those are not our questions, it will help you kind of get into the mood of what the question may look like or how to approach it.
Yeah, for this one, I would actually like to add, like in general, Google. Feel free to Google before you're going to interview, because of course, interviews and questions are different, but the concept, the idea, some well-known questions they are the same, you know, everywhere. So just take your time, Google what concurrency is, Google like top 10 questions for concurrency, stuff like that. So yeah, I see a question. Could you please recommend some books, videos, courses? Of course, I will. We will recommend some stuff at the end of the interview, some resources that you can check out that can help you. Okay, so yeah, interview with the manager. So at this stage, we are confident in your technical abilities, and now it's time to focus on the other crucial aspect of your fit within our organization. So imagine that you have passed the HackerRank quiz at the very beginning, and you moved to technical interviews, and you have passed every technical interviews, the feedback is good. So now it's time to meet with your manager or managers. So during this phase, you will have the opportunity to meet your potential managers or manager, or as I said, managers, if your team placement is just, you know, still being determined, and few managers will fight for your attention. So this meeting is not just about evaluating your skills, it's a chance for both parties to understand each other better. So we believe in the importance of cultural alignment and teamwork. So this conversation will revolve around your potential fit within our team dynamics and your alignment with our company values. And again, it's a mutual exploration to ensure that you not only have the technical skills required for the role, but also soft skills that make a great addition to our team. So yeah, this will your potential manager will focus on your ability to collaborate, lead, adapt, and you should prepare questions about the team dynamics, about the company culture, and the manager's leadership style to firstly, of course, gain this important information, and secondly, to show genuine interest in the position. So just a small personal addition from my side. This actually was the moment when I decided that I really would like to join Pure Storage, because like when I was going through the whole interview process, of course, like all developers that were interviewing me were super nice, and questions were interesting, and I got some interesting information from the TA about the company, but I still was like, so yeah, this is like another company. I'm just, you know, looking at, I'm just exploring my possibilities. So it wasn't like I really wanted to join. I was just like, you know, flowing in it. But when I had this manager interview, I like fell in love in the company, in the managers and the team, and like generally people who I was going to work with. So do not underestimate this this step. This is maybe the most important step to really understand, as Monica also said, understand the people that you're going to work. So because you may be good with algorithms, you may be good with data structures, but you will work with people at the first place. You will not work with algorithms. I'm just checking the Q&A.
And also, like for the manager interviews, like in my case, the manager I was talking with had like multiple teams under him. So like one of the points of this interview was which of his teams would be the best suited for me, or I would be suited there, because very important stuff for us is making people do the work they like. So like we don't looking for anyone to like fill the hole. We believe that people who enjoy their work do the best work. So this is why, and even like after you come here, it's a constant open question. So if you ever find a better place for you in the company, it's pretty easy to move. But yes, we trying to from the start find something that will be fitting your abilities, but also your interest. Because for example, like I got a Java position here. I was never programming in Java, but I was interested in trying something new. And this is a kind of a topic that also you can basically talk about with the manager.
Yeah, I totally agree. I see a question: how to detect red flags? I'm a bit confused if you're talking about red flags from the company and interviewers, or red flags from the interviewee. So which side are we trying to detect red flags for? Feel free to write again in the Q&A. I will go ahead for a while, and we'll come back to your question.
But I think it's like interesting topic, like what you can like ask that would be deterrent for you to join. And I like people who looks like they're enjoying stuff here. If they looks like they are forced to be on this interview, I definitely less interested. I like to ask about their job flow, like especially if that is a company that is a US company or works a lot in the US, like how is the approach to evening meetings, for example, because for me that would be a red flag. And yeah, you can ask about the team dynamic or anything that you particularly find like important to you.
Yeah. Actually, we will have a slide
Yeah, sorry,
about
it's just
questions. No, it's totally fine. But we will have a slide a bit later about questions that you might ask. So maybe this will help you to understand it better. For now, let's just go on. So, final thoughts. As we approach the final stretch of the Tech Talk, we enter a segment that kind of encapsulates the essence of our journey. It's kind of like, tips and thoughts that didn't fit into any specific category. So, final thoughts. And whether you're stepping into your first technical interview or you're a seasoned professional, these tips are designed to empower you to, ensuring that you not only navigate the challenges, but also you leave a good, lasting impression on your potential future employers. Right. So, first of all, a few tips about applying. So, applying for a job can be a bit frustrating. I agree here, but remember that it's not just about meeting every listed clarification. It's about showcasing your potential and demonstrating how you can exceed those criteria. So, for example, at Pure Storage, we believe in the power of potential. We recognize that your abilities might surpass the listed criteria, and we encourage you to take that chance to step forward with confidence. Also, at Pure, candidates can choose their preferred programming language during interviews. So just take a moment before the interview and think of a language that you are most comfortable with, and also the language that is maybe most suitable for the task that you are going to complete, because this actually allows you to showcase your strength and not think about like syntax or whatever. Furthermore, we embrace the idea that, as Monica said, you might end up in a position that differs from your prior experience, but aligns perfectly with what you're passionate about. So we want you to do what you enjoy. So it's not just about, also, as Monica said, fitting into a predefined role and, close the hole or whatever. It's about finding your place within our organization where you can contribute the most, like, meaningfully and grow professionally. And here we have the topic that I wanted to touch and that Monica started to talk about, is questions for the interviewer. So, as we already said, as much as the company evaluates you, it's equally essential for you to assess the company and the role to ensure that they align with your professional and personal needs. So it's not just an opportunity to gather information, which is it also is, but it's a chance to showcase your curiosity, your enthusiasm, your eagerness to contribute to the company and your future team. So ask questions that matter to you. Think of things that are important to you, that resonate with your values, your ambitions, and just in general, whatever you need and whatever you find important. So you might be interested in company culture and work environment. So, you can ask your, firstly, your interviewees, secondly, your potential manager, I don't know, what events take place in the company, how the office looks like, what people work in the company, how they interact, just in general, things about environment, think about what's important to you. Then you might be interested in collaboration between different teams. How often do teams collaborate? What is the reason for teams to collaborate? How regularly do teams collaborate? What tools do they have for that? Are there any regular meetings or, I don't know, common Slack channels, whatever, just whatever is important to you. Again, the next one is actually, Monica mentioned it, and I think this is the best question. If you don't know what to ask, or if you don't have time for further question, ask this one: daily routines and challenges faced by developers. So literally ask the following: could you give me an idea of what a typical day looks like for a developer here? So it also might maybe partially answer the question from the chat about red flags. What are your red flags? Think about your red flags and ask if you will encounter them at the company, as simple as it is. So, for example, you might place a significant value on coding, right? So it's important for you to understand the balance between coding and other collaborative activities within the team. So if you expect to spend, I don't know, 99% of your time coding, ask if it is a reality here. Or does the team allocate a portion of time to essential elements like meetings and code reviews and emails and like writing some design, stuff like that? And maybe they are contributing to an 80-20 split, for instance. So 80% time of coding and 20% time doing all this stuff. So is it okay for you, or is it a deal breaker for you? So this clarity isn't just about knowing the expectations, which is the first place, but secondly, it's about aligning your work style with the team's daily routine, which is extremely important. Again, you will work within, like in this team, with these people on daily basis.
I mean, to the developers' routines and stuff, like one of things I like to ask is also, what do you think about your code quality? What your approach to testing? What kind of CI/CD tools are you using? Because first, it gives you some answer about like what's the state of the thing you will be working on, but it also like show you kind of approach from the human perspective, because you can see like the person is like, we try to have some coverage, but it's like 10% now, or like testing, what testing? We don't care about testing. And those also may be like interesting cues for you of, do I really want to get into that?
Clara, I saw that you wanted to answer the question about salary. You want to do it now?
Yes, sure. You can practically transparently talk to your recruiter or HR, so you can ask practically any time. Of course, not at the beginning of the interview, but at the end of the interview, when you understand the role and you're familiar with it and you're fine with it, you like it, you can definitely open it transparently already with HR or with the recruiter.
Yeah, don't talk with the engineers about it. We are not.
Yeah,
like we don't have rights to talk about money.
Yeah, but this is actually a very interesting question, because I have few friends who are like newbies, like they are just starting to seek for a job, and they are like confused where and if there is the right time to talk about salary. They're like, oh my God, like do I have to ask? I'm like, hey, you are going to work for this money, so this is more than correct like question. Just, as Monica said, pick up right people to ask. Don't ask engineers, just ask either HR/TA specialist when they are just like talking to you at the very beginning. Again, this initial screening call or talk, whatever, this is about salary expectations as well. So please feel free to raise this question or your expectations as early as you're asked, because this is an important, you don't want to waste your time and, you know, go through the interview process if the salary in this company is not something that you're happy with. You don't have to do that.
Especially like at the start of the interview, you should talk, like the salary questions also combine with what kind of seniority level you are interviewing for. And you don't want to be surprised at the end that you thought you are interviewing for a senior position, but you got offered junior position because everyone thought you are going for junior position. So it's really, really good to like clear all of that out as early as possible.
Yeah, and of course, the salary might change slightly based on your performance. So if, for example, you were applying for a senior, but it's obvious, I mean, not obvious, but obvious based on your performance that you're, for example, middle developer, you will be informed, and you will be informed about the change in the salary. But anyway, at the very beginning of the process, you will be given at least a range that you can expect. And if you're happy more or less with this range, go ahead, like participate in the interview, and at the end you will of course know the specific number for sure. This is not a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. So actually, this is a red flag if the company that you're trying to apply for doesn't tell you the salary, because like this is one of the most important questions. I hope this answered somehow your questions. So other questions might be, you know, career development prospects and mentorship programs. Again, compensation system. So don't talk to engineers about like numbers, because they literally don't have rights to talk to you about it. But you can ask in general how the compensation system works, if there is any annual performance review, or what are the rules to ask your manager to promote you, or do you have to ask, or do they track your progress somehow? All these questions are valid. There are people who are interested in it at the very beginning, so go ahead, ask about these things.
Or if people are actually getting promoted in the company, or it's just like unchaseable rabbit that no one ever seen.
This is actually a good question. Yeah. Is there any process to promote people? So yeah, and also if you already have certain technical background, or if you're applying for a role which kind of assumes that you will have to have a good overview of these things, for example, tech lead or something like that, you might be interested in current projects and upcoming features. I mean, of course, if this is like just your first interview ever, I don't think these things will bother you. I just have a feeling that, like, I mean, I had it, and I think many people had it, that when there are your first interviews, you just feel that you will be happy with anything that people will offer you, just, you know, to get the job. Doesn't matter compensation system, current projects, whatever, just, you know, please take me to this job. But, you know, this is valid state, but please still think of things that are important to you, and ask about them. So here's a funny story from my manager, actually, that highlights the significance of even seemingly small details in the workplace. So there was a candidate who inquired about types of tea available in the kitchen. So it might seem like a minor detail, and maybe even funny detail, but this is still a valid question, because for them, these nuances contribute to a positive workplace experience. So because it's like, I mean, it's a funny story, but it's still about finding a place where not only your technical tasks align, but the overall atmosphere resonates with your personal preferences. Again, this is the place that you will attend and the people you will work with for some time in the future. So please just ask about things that are important to you. There are no funny or bad questions.
And like one more tip I would have, especially if you just start interviewing, like the interview itself it can be very stressful and very tiring. After like you spend 45 minutes trying to find a solution, and then you go into the question and your mind is like suddenly blank. So if you know that may be the case, feel free to prepare yourself some question earlier, even like write them down. So even if you will be like completely exhausted, you will not miss something that you were interested in when you still had some brain capacity like before the interview.
Yeah, right. Okay, so in this slide, we confront a question that might have crossed your minds. Why so many interviews? So our interview process might be exhaustive, but it's a testament to our commitment to selecting not just good, but exceptional candidates. And like, you should embrace this journey as a testament to your abilities as well, because by navigating these interviews, you are not only proving your worth, but also stepping into a community that recognizes your talent. So you guarantee your place among the brightest and most talented minds in the industry. When I joined Pure Storage, I was amazed how many, like not how many, that actually all people were so smart and nice and talented and stuff like that. But this is obvious because they went through pretty exhaustive interview process, but this way you can be sure that you will be surrounded by such amazing people.
And like what it's also was the result of that is because we are pretty confident in the quality of the people here. We have much more freedom. No one is like micromanaging us. People are generally trusted to do what they commit to and what they have ability to do. But we still have like pretty good collaboration. Like no one is like scared of asking questions because they will like seem dumb. No, this is not the thing. And also for like the long interviews, like I wasn't surprised by that when I was recruiting here, because I did do a bunch of like big tech interviews like Facebook, Microsoft, Google. They all had this like 5-6 level of interviews, though I feel like the Pure Storage one, like from my perspective, was one of the fastest long interview, because when I was interviewing for the Google for my first time, basically from the first email to the hire nor hire decision, it took half a year. It literally did. I checked that. And I think in Pure Storage, I was done in like around 2 months. And some of those time was the time I requested. Like, let's have this interview in a week, so I have the time to prepare, and then have another one in another week, so I have more time to prepare for like the specific topics. But the feedback was delivered like really fast, so I really appreciated that about our process.
Yeah, I think for me it took like a week or two. I mean, from to like actually joining the company took more time, because also as Monica, I requested it to finish things at my previous job. But from the first interview, I mean, from the point of TA contacting me to the decision, it was like a week and a half or something like that. So don't be afraid. You will get all the feedback and all answers in like as quickly as it's possible.
But this is also a good point. Like if you feel like you need more time to prepare or between interviews, or like just have less time in general for interviewing, the TA, like they are open to work with you, but especially if you're already working and you just don't have time to spend like all days on interviews. The process may be extended if you request that.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead. So as we navigate the journey of technical interviews, it's essential to recognize that not every encounter may lead to success. Thus, this slide addresses a topic that at some point many of us will encounter. What if I fail an interview? So firstly, let me emphasize that a failed interview is not a reflection of your worth. It's an opportunity to grow, learn, and evolve. And it's important to not get stressed, because, you know, rather view it as a stepping stone in your journey. And also consider the aftermath of a failed interview as a valuable learning moment. So take the time to reflect, go over the questions, you know, think of alternative solutions. Remember, not every candidate sails through every technical interview. This is just not possible. Rejections are a common part of this process. And in the grand scheme of hiring decisions, companies often tend to be cautious because it's not just about your skills, as again, we already mentioned, it's about finding a good fit for both you and the organization. So the priority here is establishing a collaborative relationship that leads to mutual growth and success. And it's important to understand that rejections, like, they don't define your value, they don't define your abilities. They are part of the complex hiring process, which is influenced by various factors, some of which you can't control. So, for instance, you might have had a bad day and it affected your performance. You might have been so nervous that your communication wasn't the nicest and it affected the interviewer's feedback. But everyone has challenging days. So that's, by the way, that's also why our interview process involves multiple rounds to provide you with the opportunity to showcase your best self. So if you had a bad day during the second interview, but you had an amazing performance on the third interview or on the fourth interview, great. You don't have to worry about anything. So as you go through this journey, keep in mind that giving it another try is not just an option, it's an encouragement. You can come back to the interview process at Pure Storage in a year, equipped with, new insights and experiences and new knowledge. So that's completely fine. A failed interview is not the end of your journey. It's a chapter in a larger narrative of growth and discovery. So you should just embrace the lessons and improve your skills. And when the time is right, step back into the process with confidence.
And I would also say that, like, being on the interviews is a skill of itself. Like, this is different kind of interaction with humans that you have in your daily life. It's very stressful. It was very stressful for me when I started interviewing. So especially if you are on the start of your career, go for more interviews. Just interview like as much as you can, because I needed multiple interviews with different companies before I just stopped being so stressed about it. And especially for me, when I was in my first job, I started interviewing for my second job before I really needed to leave that job. And it was just giving like big money expectation on the stuff. Like, if I get a lot of money, then great. If not, also good. I just get the experience in the interviewing. So yeah, just treat it as exercise. And
yeah,
when
100%.
you get something great.
Yeah. When I was at my previous job, I was just taking interviews without any specific goal, just to practice, because practice makes perfect. Just go and practice. Maybe just a small tip: if there is a company that you really want to join, but you don't have a lot of interview, maybe don't start with this company. Just maybe try a couple of more I'm not saying like choose companies that you're not interested in just to use their time. No, find a couple of companies that might be a good fit for you as well, but maybe like prioritize them and start from the last company to the first company in this list, because the more interviews you are doing, the more confident you are. Okay, practice resources. So we are almost at the end. So here we would like to share with you some resources that can significantly enhance your, like, readiness and confidence. So these websites, these platforms provide you with, first of all, collections of coding challenges. Second of all, a supportive community. So again, whether you are a seasoned coder or just starting, these platforms offer a diverse range of questions to suit like every proficiency level. So yeah, I will not go through them. You just see them, but yeah, just check them out. Find the one which is like the most suitable for you, the most convenient for you. Just go through questions. They usually have this section like preparing for the interviews, literally. So go ahead, check it out. And remember, preparation is the key to success. And these resources are here to support you on your journey. So explore, practice, embrace the learning process. We wish you best of luck in your preparations, and may you shine in your upcoming technical interviews.
We still have like few minutes for question and answer. I see we have one question, so Sonia will get to that. But if you have any more questions, this is the time. Please put them in. We will try to answer them as best as we can.
There is a question: what about a portfolio in a public repository? Is this a question about how you include your like GitHub profile in the resume, or I didn't
I
really.
think it's about like, does it help you? Do you consider that in the
Oh,
process?
okay, yeah, sure. My answer would be, if you are just starting applying for jobs, if you are just a freshman, post-graduated from the university, yes, you definitely need this portfolio, because this is actually the only way how to showcase your talents and projects that you worked like for. So yeah, but I would say, at least from my perspective and from how I see it, once you have one or even better 2 jobs behind you, nobody is really interested no more about your portfolio, your GitHub, because now it's not about projects that you did in the university or in your free time. Now the most important thing is, what have you learned from your previous jobs, and what projects were you working at these jobs? And of course, you cannot place them in the public repository, because this was something like this was the project within the company that you might have left already. But yeah, for when you already have experience, just prepare a list, like a brief list of things that you were responsible for at the previous job, and try to explain it as much as it helps you to showcase your talents. I hope that answers your question.
I will also say that it's definitely not a requirement. I've never had one that doesn't stop me in my career progression. But if you have something that you are really proud of, one of the places to talk about it may be on the manager interview, because they are usually also interested in those bits and pieces, and like, just, yes, I did this amazing thing, and maybe I would like something similar or something different to like do here. Definitely may be a talking point.
Sure. Let us know if you have more questions. We have a couple of minutes to answer them. But in the meantime, let me show you the slide. So if you have any more questions, but we are either out of time or they just come to your mind later after our tech talk, please contact our TA. Here's the contact to Clara. Maybe Monica, you could send this link into the chat, just to double check that everyone has it. And if you're interested in working with us, if you're interested in joining the Pure Storage, feel free to scan this QR code and check out the positions that we have. But again, as I said, even if there is no position that like that describes for 100% what you can do, or the tech stack that is 100% for you, still feel free to reach out and talk to us, because sometimes they are a predefined role, but sometimes we are just happy to fire a talented and great person to join us, and be sure that we will find something suitable for you personally. Do you work from home or in office? We have a hybrid policy. Please feel free to reach out to our TA, and they will tell you all the details about how it works in different business units and teams and stuff like that. Are all interviews online? As far as I know, Clara, I think so, right? Yeah, all interviews are online.
Yes. And by the way, for those who are here, we can give you one tip, because Sonia already shared several platforms, and our engineering challenge is on HackerRank platform. So definitely a good tip from girls. So thank you so much.
Clara, do I have 1 more minute to answer the last question, or?
Yes, sure.
Okay,
I
okay.
stop recording.
Okay, cool. So there's a question. Have all these technical interviews with coding algorithms and just solving easy tasks something in common with real work? I mean, I may have not enough experience, but I'm not really sure. So it really depends on the team that you are joining. It really depends, because we have a lot of teams, and there are like teams that mostly do some features. There are some teams that mostly do sustenance. There are Java and C++ and front end and back end, whatever. So this like we have the common interview process for everyone to just assess the technical skills, but you should ask your manager, I guess, once you are close to the manager interview or you are at the manager interview. Please just feel free. This is the great question to ask in this question for developers, questions for managers. Please feel free. Please do so. Reach out to the manager and ask how it works in this specific team and in this specific business unit, because it's very important to know.
And I would say that especially like concurrency and system design is something that you definitely use here. And for algorithms, like for me, algorithm is something that you don't really use every day, but when it's needed, it's really needed, because you don't deal with like balancing a big data structure like every day. But if you need to do it and you do it badly, it can cost a company like a ton of money.
Yeah.
So we want people who would be like at least aware there's a problem. And of course, you don't need to solve every problem yourselves, but having the knowledge that this may be a pain point here and you need to discuss it and you need to solve it in the optimal way is really important in the long run.
Yeah, and for example, I'm responsible for the REST API and I'm writing middleware in Java. So I don't really operate with data structures. But for example, system design is something that is incredibly important for my job. So this really depends on your position, team, and business unit and project. Even from project to project, you might do different things.
So like the other question is like, if you need them, you can Google it. Yes, but you need to know you need them. So you don't need to remember how to write self-balancing tree or like any specific complex algorithm, but you need to be able to look at the code and realize it's not optimal. And that may also happen during the interview. So or like be able to basically judge the complexity of the code that you either inherit or you are writing. So yes, like no one needs you to remember algorithms, but you need to be able to work with it. I have like one more question that no one asked, but I actually think it will be like nice to cover, because all our interviews are online. What do you think, Sonia, about using Google during the interview?
I mean, if our interviews are trying to understand if you can think, if you can solve problems, if you just forgot how exactly the data structure is named or how it is initialized in the language that you have like chosen, we don't care, because this is something that you will Google in the real world. Like at a job, like in the IT, you Google stuff every day. But as Monica said, you have to know what you're Googling. You have to understand the results of this Googling. So if it's just a minor technical detail, we don't care about it. We care about you to be able to think, to solve problems, to solve complex problems, to suggest great or at least good and working implementations. So that's it. Of course, you can Google the algorithm, but you have to see, as Monica again said, why the previous algorithm is bad and why the new one is good. That's it. I guess we're out of time.
So thank you, everyone. And as I said, the presentation will be available later if you would like to go back to it. And if you feel inspired to join us, please message Clara. Our talent acquisition team is the friendliest team I've ever seen. So don't be afraid, reach out, and maybe one day see you in the office.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day. Bye.